The cameras went dark at 2:17 a.m. One by one, the screens in the prison control room turned black. Not all at once. Just enough to matter. The hallway camera first. Then the stairwell. Then the corner that watched the door to protective housing. A guard stood up and frowned. "That's weird," he said. At that exact moment, a man who was supposed to be safe inside prison was not. And no one was watching. His name was Ethan Miller. He was not a gang leader. He was not violent. He was not famous. He was a witness. Ethan had testified in court months earlier. His words helped send dangerous men to prison. Because of that, the system promised to protect him. Protective custody. Extra checks. Cameras everywhere. He was supposed to be safe. The highest peak of this story happened in the dark. When the cameras came back on 9 minutes later, Ethan Miller was no longer in his cell. The door was closed. The bed looked untouched. The light still buzzed overhead. But Ethan was gone. The guard radioed it in. "Missing inmate in protective housing," he said. His voice cracked. Because inmates don't disappear from locked units. Not without help. Before that night, Ethan's life had already changed forever. He grew up in Indiana. He liked baseball and fixing old cars. He was quiet. Careful. The kind of person who avoided trouble. Trouble found him anyway. He witnessed a crime he could not unsee. And when the time came, he told the truth. Testifying was the hardest thing Ethan had ever done. He shook on the stand. His voice broke. But he finished. After court, an officer pulled him aside. "You did the right thing," the officer said. "We'll keep you safe." Ethan believed him. Prison was not part of the plan. But threats came fast. Letters. Messages passed through others. So the court sent Ethan to prison early, placing him in protective custody for his own safety. That sounded wrong to Ethan. But he trusted the system. Protective housing was quieter than the rest of the prison. Fewer inmates. More rules. More cameras. Ethan stayed in his cell most days. He read. He wrote letters. He waited for time to pass. Low moments came often. Loneliness. Fear. Regret. But he told himself one thing. At least I'm safe. The guards checked on him regularly. "How you doing, Ethan?" they asked. "Okay," he always said. That was mostly a lie. Ethan noticed things. Guards changing shifts early. Doors staying open longer than usual. Cameras being down for maintenance. He didn't like that word. Maintenance. 1 week before the cameras went dark, Ethan asked a guard a question. "What happens if the cameras stop working?" he asked. The guard laughed. "They don't," he said. The night it happened started like any other. Count at 9 o'clock. Lights dimmed at 10 o'clock. Ethan lay on his bunk, staring at the ceiling. He thought about his family. He thought about freedom. He thought about whether telling the truth had been worth it. At 2:16 a.m., the hallway light flickered. At 2:17 a.m., the cameras went dark. No alarms sounded. No lockdown was called. Because officially, nothing was wrong. Someone knew exactly which cameras to disable. Someone knew how long it would take to fix them. Someone knew where Ethan was. The low point came fast. A guard walked the unit during the blackout. He passed Ethan's cell. The door looked closed. He didn't look inside. That decision would haunt him. When the cameras returned, the control room froze. Ethan's cell showed an empty bed. The guard ran. The door was locked. The cell was empty. Sirens screamed. The prison locked down. Guards searched every hallway, every stairwell, every closet. Ethan Miller was nowhere. Officials called it an incident. That word hides fear. Investigators arrived before sunrise. They reviewed footage. They rewound the blackout again and again. 9 minutes. That was all it took. Someone had entered the unit. Someone had exited. Their faces never appeared on camera. Rumors spread through the prison. Inmate got taken. Cameras don't just fail. Someone helped. Fear moved faster than truth. Ethan's family got a call. not a clear one. Just words that didn't explain anything. There's been a situation, they were told. Is Ethan okay? His mother asked. Silence answered first. Then, we're still looking. Inside the prison, a quiet panic took hold. Protective custody was supposed to be the safest place. If Ethan wasn't safe there, who was? The extreme moment that ends Chapter 1 came late that evening. An investigator noticed something strange. A camera that was never supposed to be connected to the protective housing system showed movement. Just a shadow. Just a shape. But it was there. At 2:18 a.m. Leading away from Ethan's unit. The investigator paused the frame, zoomed in, and saw a detail that changed everything. A hand. Wearing a prison-issued glove. That meant only one thing. Ethan Miller didn't leave on his own. And whoever took him knew exactly how to make the cameras go dark. The frame with the glove was passed around the room. No one spoke. Because that glove did not belong to an inmate. It belonged to staff. Investigators locked down the control room. They took statements from every guard who worked that night. They checked schedules, shift swaps, overtime logs. Nothing stood out at first. That made it worse. Protective housing was searched again. Slowly, carefully. Ethan's cell had no signs of a struggle. His shoes were still under the bed. His letters were stacked neatly. His blanket was folded. He had not run. He had been taken. The cameras were examined next. Technicians found the problem quickly. The blackout was not a failure. It was a command. Someone had logged into the system and turned off only the cameras that mattered. Not the whole prison. Just the path to Ethan's cell and back out again. 9 minutes. Planned. The low moment came when investigators realized something else. The system login used was not stolen. It was active. Whoever did this had permission. Guards grew quiet. No one wanted to look suspicious. No one wanted to talk. Fear changed the room. Ethan's mother called again. She asked the same question. Is my son safe? This time, the answer was different. We don't know, they said. That broke something in her voice. On the unit, inmates whispered. Protective custody no longer felt protective. Some asked to be moved. Some refused to sleep. Trust was gone. A lieutenant named Mark Evans began asking his own questions. He had worked the prison for 20 years. He believed in rules. And he believed someone had broken them. Mark reviewed maintenance requests. He found one filed 2 days before the incident. Camera recalibration, protective housing. Approved. Signed. The name at the bottom was familiar. Too familiar. It belonged to a senior officer. Someone respected. Someone trusted. Mark didn't confront him. Not yet. He watched instead. He noticed the officer avoided the investigation team. Avoided eye contact. Took breaks at strange times. Small things. But small things add up. Another discovery came that afternoon. A door log showed a secure hallway opened during the blackout. That hallway led to a service exit. Not monitored during maintenance windows. The low point deepened. This was not an accident. It was a path. Ethan's family hired a lawyer. The story reached local news. Headlines were careful. Witness missing after prison camera failure. Officials promised answers. They didn't have them. Inside the prison, pressure built. Staff were angry. Some felt accused. Some felt guilty. Some felt scared. Mark finally spoke to the senior officer. Just a casual question. Busy night, huh? The officer nodded. Too fast. That night, investigators found something hidden in a locker. A pair of prison-issued gloves. Only one had been used recently. They ran DNA. They ran timelines. They matched shifts. The net tightened. But Ethan Miller was still missing. And that was the extreme moment that closed Chapter 2. Because investigators realized something terrifying. Whoever took Ethan did not plan to keep him inside the prison. And every minute that passed made finding him harder. The arrest happened quietly. No sirens. No shouting. Just a knock on a door and a pair of cuffs. The senior officer did not fight. He did not ask why. He knew. Investigators found proof in his phone. Messages sent late at night. Short replies. Times that matched the blackout. He had been paid. Not a lot. But enough. The truth came out in pieces. Ethan Miller had not been killed inside the prison. He had been moved. Handed off through the service exit. Driven away while cameras were dark. The officer said he thought it would scare Ethan. That he would learn a lesson. That was the lie he told himself. What really happened was worse. Ethan had been taken to an abandoned building not far from the prison. The people waiting for him were not inmates. They were connected to the case Ethan testified in. They wanted silence. Forever. Police found the location the next day. Too late. Ethan Miller was found alive. Barely. Locked in a small room. Cold. Weak. Terrified. But breathing. That was the highest peak of the story. Doctors said another day might have ended it. Ethan could not speak at first. When he did, he said only one thing. I thought the cameras would protect me. The officer was charged. So were two people on the outside. The case went federal. The prison was placed under review. Cameras were replaced. Rules were rewritten. Oversight was added. Too late for trust. Ethan entered witness protection. He will never return to that prison. He will never trust systems the same way again. His family held him like he might disappear. Again. The prison still stands. The cameras work now. All of them. But people remember that night. Because safety failed. Not because of broken machines. But because someone chose to turn them off. He was supposed to be safe in prison. Then the cameras went dark. And that 9 minutes changed everything. That is the end of the story.